Hey, Peader, mate. I think we are live, dude.
Yeah, I think so. It came up on the screen there. Is it working?
I think it's working, mate. Amazing, amazing. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm good. Thanks very much for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to this all week,
Yeah, not a problem, mate. I think the last time I seen you was what, July, wasn't it? Was it July?
Yeah, in South Shields, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I take it you got back home on the boat all right, yeah?
Yeah, fucking hell. I still didn't get the refund for that train, but that's a story for another day, man. I lost like 90 quid on a train ticket.
Yeah. Didn't you end up getting COVID as well, Peader?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even get it. I was quite sick, and then I see Paul and all had it. I was like, fuck. But no, I got tested. I never actually had it. I just.
All right, I see. Yeah, well, we're not going to go there today. That's not that kind of podcast.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, for anyone watching, obviously, or listening, whether it be on Spotify or watching on YouTube, this is a gentleman who I know through a mutual mentor of ours who were on a coaching program, a mindset and business program, and he does something very similar to me. Online coach, help people with their mindset, their fat loss, their nutrition, all that good stuff. So, traditional boring podcast question here, Peader. Who are you and what do you do? Just to let people know where you're at.
Well, yeah, I imagine most of the people listening, probably your audience, like you pretty much sort of covered it for me. I'm Peader Hughes. I help people mainly the fat loss, and like you said yourself, more so the getting people's confidence back side of things. Started that sort of thing when I was younger, very overweight. Got into that myself, and I know you're in a similar industry in that it's not just fat loss; it's more so the other end of it now. So that's why I got into that.
Yeah, how old are you, mate?
I'm 21.
Yeah, starting early. I wasn't doing nowhere near what you were doing at 21. At 21, mate, all I cared about was going out, getting pissed, taking drugs. So there you go. So you're already ahead of the game, mate.
Cheers. Well, hopefully in the same position yourself in a few years.
Yeah, amazing, mate. Amazing. So we obviously had a chat before we came on and we said like some of the topics we wanted to cover today. We see a lot of people as coaches doing things wrong when it comes to fat loss, when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to exercise. So what would you say are the main things that your clients get, or just people you see in general doing wrong when it comes to getting results? Because it's easy for us to notice that, but people just don't get it with it.
Yeah, I think it's funny enough. I was actually on the phone before this with a lad who's he's looking to join me in the coaching program. And I was having a chat with him, what have you tried before? Has it worked and stuff? And his thing was bread. He cut out bread and he cut him down stuff down to I think it was like one slice a day. And he said he was walking me through his full day of eating. It was like tuna and rice and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, would you like that sort of stuff? He's like, nah, I fucking hated it. And that to me just epitomizes the whole that's, I don't know about you, but that's what people do wrong in my eyes. They try to go too hard, go too quick. I know you have a history with competitive bodybuilding and stuff, like photo shoots and stuff like that. So you probably have had to do that sort of stuff before. I think people try to do that from the outside.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, I've been there. I think it's this good and bad food mindset that people are stuck in. I think a lot of people are like, this food's good, this food's bad, and they've got these negative associations attached to these foods, which just gives them a bit of a messed up relationship with food. But also, it gives them a false sense of this is right and this is wrong when it comes to getting results. And if you associate getting results as in fat loss with pain, like, oh, I've got to cut out bread, oh, I can only eat that, you're not going to do it, are you?
Yeah, exactly. And I always ask people, what do you think you have to do? What do you think you have to sacrifice? And that's usually a good indicator for me. So for example, if someone's like, I'll probably have to be doing cardio every day. Oh, I'll probably have to cut out this. I'll probably have to cut out that. That's usually a good indicator of where they're at in terms of that. I don't like using the word wrong, but I think, like you said, from our position, knowing what is going to work and isn't going to work for most people, yeah, it's not ideal, is it?
Yeah, it is hard. I mean, my coaching program, my business, it's pretty much transitioned out of just a regular online coaching, weight loss. I like specifically working with people who struggle with emotional eating right now and this relationship with food, because I feel that's my passion, that's my background, that's something I'm very, very good at. So this is something I see day in, day out. A lot of people who sign up to my coaching program, one of their main triggers for binge eating or for emotional eating, which is obviously causing the weight loss on the back, the weight gain on the back end as well, which is giving them, body confidence issues, is the fact that they'll restrict themselves of foods that they like in an attempt to lose weight, and then they'll ultimately cave and then binge on all the foods that they perceive as wrong. So not only have they got a messed up relationship with food, they're actually torturing themselves after they eat the foods they like because they think they've done something wrong. And then that comes with the guilt, the shame, the self-loathing. These are all emotions that could be avoided if you just change the rules for yourself around food.
Yeah, definitely, man. I love that's why I think I remember the first time we ever talked, I was saying to you, I love your sort of content because I feel like one of the biggest mistakes people make, one of the biggest reasons people don't get the results they want is a lack of, adherence, a lack of sustainability. And I think that's where you come in perfectly. People have the wrong rules around food. And I don't think people realize how damaging that actually can be, long term. Even just saying like, oh, that's bad food. Although that sounds like just a passing comment, that's quite I understand exactly where you come from there. And then you get caught up in that cycle of, oh, I'm eating bad food, feeling guilty and stuff.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I've got a little bit of a strange story, not a strange story, but something that I've noticed this morning. I haven't had a food shop this week because I've been really busy. Last night I was starving. I came home and I was like, God, I haven't got nothing. Went in the cupboards. There was a pot noodle. There was some pita breads with some cheese. There was some crisps. And I'm trying to hit 3,000 calories right now, and I was massively under because I'm dropping weight not like easy as possible at the minute because I'm doing lots of cardio. So I'm struggling to maintain my weight. So I'm trying to eat, and I thought, oh, go on, I'll just have them, just a bit of a TV snacks. And I woke up this morning feeling dreadful, but then the old me would have been like, oh, I've messed up, I've done this, I've done that. I was just like, right, in that moment I made a decision for convenience, and I realized it's had an impact on me, but I still wasn't saying, oh, it's a bad food. I just realized that those foods were more processed, didn't really contain nutrients, quality vitamins, minerals. They were just beige, quick fixes. But in the moment, I realized there was going to be a physiological response from that because I don't normally eat foods like that. But I've got that mindset where I'm like, it served the purpose at the time. It happened because I wasn't prepared. Don't have to make it mean anything more than that. Yeah, but a lot of people could be faced with that position. They've had nothing to eat. They've been restricted and think, oh, I'll just have this. And then they're like, oh, I broke my diet. And they would just spend the rest of the week binging.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that. I think it's sort of, people get into that like, what's the word that, they do it, doing it isn't the issue. It's how they feel about it after that, so it's like, right, I fucked this, so I may as well just give up on this diet completely. It's not one off day, it's one failed diet as far as they're concerned.
Bang on, mate.
Bang
on. I mean, I used this analogy with a client the other week who was struggling with emotional eating, a lady, and she's doing great, but don't get me wrong, a lot of the clients who I work with are fantastic. They overcome the relationship with food, but I tell them straight away, you're going to have a wobbler eventually. It happens, right? And I says, there's a difference between just going over your calories, right, and emotional eating. Yeah. I think a lot of people who struggle with binge eating or previous negative relationships with food, they're still caught up in that. If I do it once, that means I'm back to square one and it's terrible. I'm like, you could have a pizza, right, a Domino's with a cookies and cream Ben and Jerry's at the side, maybe with some, whatever snacks after. And you could do that and eat it out of emotion because you've had a bad day, because you're feeling low, because you're feeling depressed. And the meaning around that is different. Or you could just say, you know what, I fancy having that. The calories is the same. The act of actually eating it is the same. It's what you make it mean and why you did it. That's the thing. What you make things mean is always the thing. It's not necessarily the action. Yeah. The action's just you ate some food and you had higher calories than you normally did. Can we not just leave it at that and then move on? However, people have these rules and these associations with food that cause all of the guilt, that cause all of the self-loathing, that cause all of the roller coaster of emotions. That's the problem. It's not the food that's the problem. It's what you make it mean.
Yeah, and I like what you said there about the rules thing. I think I try not to like massively go into the mindset stuff, but obviously because, the niche is fitness, but I think that's huge that people would quantify like a successful diet, for example, is say they're dieting for 12 weeks. It's right for the next 12 weeks. I'm not going to break that diet once. That's not, in my eyes, that's not a successful diet. Like you're going to break that maybe 3, 4, 5 times. And I think, like you said, just having that rule in. So let's say over the next 90 days, I'm going to be consistent eating 2 days. That's success, and that still leaves you a bit of wiggle room. You can have a week off and you're still bang on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I've heard other people say this and I say it myself. Essentially, if you can't stick to that diet the rest of your life, it's the wrong diet for you. That's why diets don't work. They need to be lifestyle. They need to be a way of eating and an approach to eating rather than a diet. You know what I mean? Yeah,
definitely. And I don't think I've ever actually had any, like, I've never went down that way, thankfully, weird relationships, strange relationships with food and stuff. But I think it's too common. I've had clients who have come to me having that problem in the past. And I think the biggest issue some of them say is they just didn't know what they were doing. It's not even necessarily that they were trying to chase a certain body composition. It's just they were trying to achieve a goal. They didn't know how to do it. So that was a result of trying on their own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I think, there's no real education on it. I mean, even in the fitness industry, there's some great coaches, some great, influencers, personal trainers. But again, this whole rules around food and relationship with food, it's very niche and there's not a lot of people doing it right now. That's kind of why I branched off. But apart from the food, we'll change the direction a little bit. I'm sure I will touch on that later. What else do you see people making mistakes?
Making mistakes around diet. I think honestly the biggest thing, like under that same umbrella term, is they're not thinking a wee bit longer term. So with their diet, obviously they're thinking very short term. Same with their training, same with their cardio. So it's right, I'm going to start training 6 days a week now. I'm going to be doing cardio after. I'll make it easy. I'll do it after every 5 sessions or something, or 5 times a week or whatever. But they're still, they're going from not training at all, not doing anything, to 6 fucking sessions a week and 6 hard sessions at that. 2 hours in the gym and stuff like that. I think probably the biggest thing overall, all the micro parts of it aside, is just a lack of sustainability, a lack of long-term planning,
Yeah. It's the same theme, isn't it? Like, you can notice people have the same theme when it comes to their food and their exercise as well. And that's what's giving them their mindset and the rules that they've got for themselves. Like, again, you would have experienced this before me, hypothetical situation, but I guarantee you can resonate with it. Client comes to you, they've tried to get results in the past. Maybe they have, but they gained it all back. And you ask them what they've done, what previous data, all the questions that we go through as coaches to kind of gather intelligence on this particular person for how we can help them. And it's always, I lost 2 stone, but I gained it all back. How did you do it? Well, I did this boot camp 5 times and I hit 1,200 calories, and I've done it in 6 weeks for a holiday, and then I lost it all. It's like, it's the all or nothing mindset, or all or nothing approach. They want it now. People aren't willing to wait, are they? They want the instant gratification now, and that kind of is the root of that all the problems.
Yeah, and it's not, people have said to me that in the past, because I would always be a huge advocate of that. I do think there's definitely a time and place. If somebody comes to me and they're like, listen, I've got a holiday in 10 weeks. I know this isn't sustainable. I just want to lose a bit of weight. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. But I think it's more so explaining that that's not how you do that long term. If you're doing it under an extreme circumstance, fair enough. But for majority of people who just who come to you, come to me, they don't want to do a bodybuilding competition. They don't want to do a photo shoot or go on holiday. It's just, I want to feel a wee bit better. I want to feel a bit more confident. And I think the biggest thing for me, probably the same with you, was coming from the background you did, is thinking about how could I do this year round. I like that you said that there, how could I sustain this year round? Obviously there's going to be fluctuations, but not to the degree that you hear of sometimes.
Yeah. It's also that perfectionism complex as well. I think people have ridiculously high standards for themselves, but those people who have ridiculously high standards for themselves never ever hit those standards. It's strange. It's like a paradox almost. It's like, these are the standards, but this is where I'm at. And those people are constantly beating themselves up, trying to hit those high standards, but never able to do it. That alone should be the warning sign that you need to say, my approach isn't working.
Yes, it's like the horizon, isn't it? Like perfection, you're never going to actually get there. And I've been guilty of this in the past, even more recently. You set yourself, I'm willing to suffer that wee bit more. I think that's another big thing that I didn't mention. People overestimate the amount they're willing to suffer, because I know you've done extreme diets before. I've done extreme diets before. It's fucking hard. Like, your energy's not good. You're so busy because you're moving all the time. You're constantly thinking about food. It's not easy. You couldn't do that. Even now, when my literal job is fitness and stuff, I would still struggle with that. So someone, say a student or someone in a 9 to 5, how the fuck are they going to do that?
Yeah. This is why I got away from the traditional personal training and online coaching and went more on the lifestyle mindset stuff, because I found all of the reasons people falling off track all came to the same root cause: lifestyle, rules, what they were making it mean, kids getting in the way, barriers with work, stresses outside. Because we know ourselves about mindset, doing what we do, values. We know that we live by a set of values and priorities. And in the moment, we will value something because we get something from it. So in the moment, if people are stressed at work, they've got relationship issues going on, family bereavements, lockdowns, redundancies, all these things that we saw happen in the last 2 years with the lockdowns and the way the world changed. That's what was stopping people from being in shape. It wasn't the fact that they didn't know what to do with food, or they didn't want to eat healthy, or they didn't want to exercise. They did. It's just that they couldn't create a strategy or a mindset to do it because they couldn't deal with the outside stresses. That's it.
Yeah. And I think you're very much on the case of this. I see all your stuff. I'm not totally sure how in depth you are with this, but I'm a big advocate of making it as easy as possible for as long as you possibly can. Like, there's people who come to me and they're not even training right now. They're just going out for a run a couple times a week, go for a swim, something that they enjoy because they don't want to train yet. I was like, right, well, we'll throw that in when we need to. Like me, for example, if I diet, and I'm going to diet on as high calories as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can, and then put them down, because like you said, where are you going to go? There's only a ceiling to how far you can get. So start that as easy as possible. And then when you say the stress comes up, when lockdowns happen, redundancies, whatever, it's not hard to fall back on because it's easy. You're not making it difficult for yourself. Yeah,
I mean, I think the making things simple for yourself is probably the best approach, not just with diet, mate, with life as well. I think it comes to the point when you've got to go, right, almost measure backwards. It's like, right, what outcome do I want from this? What outcome am I looking for? Right, how do I get that outcome? Then how can I make the strategy to get to that outcome as easy as possible? And that might make it mean the fact that you have to do a little bit longer. But like I said, the sustainability for you, like what you said, that's what's going to make it possible. Like I could give, let's say, a coaching client signed up with me right now, or even you, me or you could give them this perfect plan from, you know, the latest literature, from the best nutrition, the best diet, the best nutrients, the best training, give them this absolutely amazing state-of-the-art protocol that was going to give them the best health, the best diet, the best results in a fastest possible time. But the bottom line is, if they're not willing to stick to that, or they don't have a lifestyle that allows that to be possible, they won't do it. So you've got to accept making it simple is actually making it, you know, going to work for you. That's the only way. It's not going to work if it's not simple, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a bit of a hypocrite sometimes, because my training and my diet is maybe more complex than that of some of my clients. And they're like, oh, well, why am I doing this then? I'm like, well, I've been doing this for years. I don't have to consciously think about this anymore. You know, I'm at a stage where I have to progress at that bit. But I think for someone who's a beginner, that was a big mistake I made anyway, was half an hour run on the treadmill before every 2-hour gym session every single day of the week, you know, but then it came to the weekend and I wasn't on it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I think making it a lifestyle rather than a temporary fix is most people's issue. I think you mentioned obviously about exercise there, doing like crazy amounts of exercise, thinking that's going to get you the results. But even you said you don't even have to exercise. We know what fat loss is created by, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's it. If people don't like training, I have a client who said to me recently, he was like, listen, I hate training legs. I'm not doing it. I was like, right, well, let's stop doing it. I was like, do you want bigger legs? He was like, no. I was like, why fuck you training legs? And I was like, listen, obviously it's optimal, you know, you wanted everything twice per week, but if you're not doing it, then spend your time doing something else. There's no point doing it.
Yeah, this is why I think so many people struggle with their mindset and mental health, because they're constantly in conflict with themselves. They're valuing something, but they're not valuing what they have to do to get it, or they want something, but then they're not willing to do it. It's like they're constantly in a paradox, in conflict with themselves, because they want the thing, but they're not willing to do the thing to get it. But then they'll actively seek to try and get the thing, doing everything else that's not going to get them there. And they avoid the one thing that will get them there. You know, a lot of the time it just comes down to getting the right strategy, which is why we can say all day, get a coach, man. Get a coach.
Yeah, no, and there's a bit of a contradiction, because like I'm such an advocate of making it easy so that you can work hard at it. So if you're enjoying it, say you have a good training program there, you know, you're liking it, work hard at it then. You know, the process is as easy as possible, but you're actually showing up and you're putting in the work. Because I think sometimes I say make it easy, and then people think, oh, it's easy. It's not easy. It's simple, but the work's actually, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's a good point. There is definitely a difference between something being easy and something being simple. I think simple gives you that guarantee, like 1 + 1 is 2, A to B to C. That's simple, but getting to A to B might require you to do something very hard. It's still a simple strategy, but it's not easy. Like diet, like you said, it's not easy. You're essentially starving yourself. I mean, depending on where you start off, I'm going to be 100% honest here, and some people might get triggered by this. If you are obese and you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 stone to lose, trust us, you're not starving yourself. You've got enough fat reserves to live on. You could go on a desert island and survive for 8 weeks on no food, and you'd be completely fine. That's how much fat reserves you've got. However, if you start slightly leaner, like wanting to go from 15% body fat to 10% body fat, very hard. You've got to starve yourself, essentially. Not starve yourself in terms of calories being so low, but you are in essentially a starved state because you're in a deficit and your body's starting to get rid of a natural amount of body fat that it kind of wants to hold on to. In that moment, going from 15% body fat to 10%, your body doesn't want to do that. Your body wants to get from 30, 40, 50% body fat to 20. It wants to do that because it'll feel healthier doing it, yeah? But that last stage, difficult, it's not easy. So anyone who's listening right now, who's trying to, reach a body composition goal, and for whatever reason, that's a great thing. Wanting to improve how you look, even if it is for your own self-confidence or a competition or something like that. If that's what makes you happy, that's fucking great, wonderful. But accept that it's not going to be easy. And I think a lot of people have this uninformed optimism. Oh yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. And they don't know how hard it is. Yeah,
no, definitely, man. And I like what you said there with people, once they're at a stage where they have a lot to lose. I was actually on the phone to a lad, sorry, this was about 2 weeks ago. And again, another lad trying to sign up for a coaching program. We were talking, and I was like, listen, mate, why do you want to do this? Like, I was just like, I want you to be honest with me. You're a good lad. We're having a good chat here. What is the real reason behind this? And I think that's something we could maybe go into in terms of people who are really overweight, have a lot to lose. Get very, very clear on that. And not just something like, I want to be a wee bit fitter or something like that. Like what he said to me was, he'll not mind me saying, I'm not going to say who he is. His girlfriend, he feels, is a lot better looking than him. So he wants to up the standard of himself to feel a wee bit better to her, which is You know what I mean? Like if he's feeling a wee bit flat, he's feeling a wee bit shit someday, doesn't want to go to the gym, that's going to be fucking huge to get him in, because that's not going to help him look good compared to his girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like I think when people are really, really overweight, or even when they're at that stage where they maybe have to push that wee bit harder, that 15 to 10% body fat, having that strong reason to do it is going to be paramount. That's another thing I see people doing wrong. They don't have enough purpose starting in the first place.
Mate, 100%. I get people, obviously I've got an audio book out right now, how to stop binge eating and finally get in shape. It's had nearly 5,000 downloads. It's been out for about 8-9 months, but it's flying, you know, and I get messages every day that people love it. Essentially, it was all about that, mate. Like, why do you want to do this? What impact is eating like this having on your mental health, your physical health? And I think, like I say, you must have had dozens, if not hundreds of calls with, you know, potential clients just like me. Sam, I want to join your program. What does it include? You know, how do I work with you? All that stuff. We'll go through that process all the time, like a consultation. And I can tell immediately when someone's talking to me if they are a right fit for me or not. And I'll just tell them, listen, I don't think you're ready. I think you should do this. But I'll also tell them if I think they are ready. And what I'm looking for is the deeper meaning why, just like you said, why? Because that's the powerful leverage that's going to hold you accountable. It's like the glue to you and your goal. Just saying, oh, I want to lose weight because I want to be fitter. It's not powerful enough. You'll just sack it off, because we know in times of stress and uncertainty, our brain's hardwired to go out of pain into pleasure. So when you're feeling a little bit low, a little bit drained, a little bit tired, maybe you're struggling with mental health a little bit and you're getting some anxiety, some depression, this happens. You know, we've got to be straight up, because people who listen to this rely on that, us being straight up. People are struggling with their mental health right now, especially with what's happened the past few years. In that moment, if you don't have a powerful why, you don't have a reason to, you'll just quit. You'll just give up. You'll just turn to food for comfort. You'll sack the gym off. So if you don't have a powerful reason why, and you can only establish that by getting clear of your deepest pain point, like you said, this dude who you were talking to on the phone, he feels like he doesn't look as good as his girlfriend. He's probably getting paranoid, thinking his girlfriend's going to leave him.
Yeah, it's huge.
You know, that's controversial, what I've just said, but that's a powerful why. If you don't have that, you'll not stick to it.
No, exactly. And it's the same in anything, isn't it? It's not even just in terms of fitness. Like anything you go about doing, it's if you're just fucking about doing it for the sake of doing it, you're not gonna stick at that, are you?
I know. Humans need guarantees. Like our brain's hardwired. We've got to have certainty. Like if I do this, I get that. If I do this, that happens. If we don't have that, especially when it comes to fat loss and our goals, we'll just sack it off. Humans are world-class procrastinators. Yeah, world-class. We need certainty. Even me.
Something actually, I'd love to get your opinion on this, right? So I was talking to someone about this recently. You probably get a lot of clients who, similar to myself, come to you at a stage where they've lost a bit of weight themselves, maybe stone and a half off. They've got another stone to lose, but they're not in pain anymore. They're not unhappy with how they look. What would you say to someone who's wanting to go to that next level? Because I get a lot of that. Yeah,
I guess you've got to reestablish the powerful why, and that can change. Like what you're valuing is your why can change. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that this is the phase that a lot of people get into, mate. It's they're in pain, they're overweight, they're unhappy because it's having massive effects on their confidence. They lose a little bit of weight and all of a sudden they're out of pain now. The reason why they were doing it is now not there because, hey, they're 2 stone down. Hey, I can enjoy myself again. I've got more confidence. But eventually they're going to end up back to square one. So in that moment, you've got to recommit them, or they have got to recommit to a new goal. It's all about replacing it. So the way I set my coaching program up, it's like, right, get you out of pain. You'll stop binge eating in 90 days. You'll drop 2 stone. You'll improve your relationship with food. And then my 12-month coaching program is like, right, life expansion. What parts of your life do you want to improve? What parts of your relationships could get better? Do you think your career can get better? Do you think confidence can get better? Is there anything with your mental health outside of food that you want to improve right now? So I get them to recommit to a new goal, because the initial goal, they're not in pain anymore. That's gone. It's done. Yeah. So basically get them to recommit to something new. And again, that might be going through the process of, well, why do I want my life to improve? I've lost the weight now, but what else do I want to improve? And I think a lot of people that don't do that, they're like, oh, I've lost the weight, so I'm cool now. And they'll go back to where they were before. That tells me they weren't in it for the long haul, you know? So I guess it's about getting them to recommit to a new goal. But I do understand that people flip-flop between that. They do the whole yo-yo dieting on January. They'll lose weight. They'll enjoy summer and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm out of shape again. Then they'll try and diet down for, they'll enjoy that spring and then they'll diet down again for summer. Then they'll gain it all back and they'll start dieting in January. And they just do that constant loop. They'll fluctuate at stone, 2 stone, stone, 2 stone. They never recommit themselves to a new goal based around life expansion. Yeah, so I think the initial phase is get yourself out of pain. And then you've got to have the mindset to go, right, how can I build on this? I don't think a lot of people like building because they know how hard it is. The value staying the same because it's easy.
100%. I love what you said there about the life expansion. You know, it's a lot of the time you get people, you might have seen the other day, I put something up, one of my clients went on a date with a girl for the first time in a couple of months. He was saying, his confidence has improved. Rarely when people are telling me, what's went well, what's a win and stuff, it's never like, oh, I bench press this amount, or whatever. It's usually something outside.
Yeah, it's a feeling. It's a feeling. That's what people want. We do things because we get something from it. Yes, you want to lose weight, but why do you want to lose weight? For more confidence, for better sex, for more energy to play with your kids, more confidence at work. Like I was having a coaching call with a client who just recently signed up with me, and one of her reasons as to why she wanted to, eliminate binge eating, lose weight, improve her health, was the fact that she's got these aspirations in her career that she doesn't have the confidence to do right now because she doesn't like her body. She'll see new on the back end of that. I'll lose weight and I'll be more confident, but that'll give me the energy and confidence needed to build. And I was already getting at, I think, of the future. I call it the future perfect identity. You've got to have this future perfect identity now. You might not reach that because perfectionism is a bit of a flawed concept. However, why can't you not have that as a benchmark? Like, always be thinking long term. And I think most people, mate, are stuck in the short term way of thinking because that's the only thing they've ever known.
Yeah, I feel like I'm learning something off you here. Like this whole like identity and stuff. That's amazing, lad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what I'm always thinking about, mate. I mean, I posted a post on Instagram this morning. I don't know if you've seen, but on Fridays I always try and post some motivation. Maybe it's a little bit triggering stuff. Like I've always said, 50% of people who see my stuff, they'll either be triggered or inspired. I can't control which one. I'm cool with either because I know those people who get triggered, they're just not ready yet, and that's completely fine because I wasn't ready a few years ago either. But the people that are ready will resonate with it. And I posted something today about my story and personal development and things, and that was where I was stuck because I was avoiding the future because I was scared of it. I think a lot of people are petrified about the future because they don't feel in control. So that's why they don't go there. So that's why they're only focused on the next 8 weeks, the next 6 weeks. But on the back end, that just creates a bunch of anxiety. So many people are struggling with anxiety right now because they're avoiding this identity in the future that they will become, that they don't want to see. They don't want to see yet because they know they're not doing the work in the necessary, the present. And I think it is all about going, right, okay, well, where am I at right now? What decisions am I making on a daily basis? As Tony Robbins says, decisions dictate your destiny.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, I love what you're saying about the fitness carryover. Like I feel like a lot of people in fitness tend to do, not this obviously isn't always the case, but generalizing, like tend to do well in like business, tend to do well in like their mindset and stuff because they've had that. Like I think I've seen you talk about that before, that committed attitude because they've done something in terms of better in their health, better, and it just sort of carries over into everything. That's obviously hugely applicable to what you do.
Yeah, like I say, it was almost like an addiction. It was like, wow, I've achieved something. This is what I say to people all the time. Like, confidence is created. Confidence is created. We know this. Confidence is a post-event emotion. You've got to do something, see that it works, see the progress, and you look back and you go, wow, that was fucking great. What next? But if you're never, ever looking for that, you're just looking for it now, and you refuse to do anything in the meantime because you don't have any confidence, you never get to feel it. So I think a lot of people are just constantly flip-flopping back and forth between doing a little bit, seeing some progress, then going, right, I've done it now, let's quit. I'm all right. And then going, oh shit, I'm back in pain now, I need to do it again. It's like you need to do it without confidence. You need to do it without a guarantee. You need to do it when you're in pain. Yeah. But once you reach that point, you're like, wow, that's the changes that I needed to make. You've got to recommit yourself straight away. And I don't know if that can be taught.
Mm-hmm.
I can teach this, I can speak this and show you prime examples of me, dozens, hundreds of my clients. But if people will not decide to accept that invitation in the moment, they're not going to do it. It can't be taught. I can't force someone to recommit themselves to that future perfect identity. If all they care about is the short-term fixes and the value that it gives them in the short term, like maybe is what I was stuck like a few years ago, didn't give a shit about after the bodybuilding competition. I just wanted to look good for the competition. Yet a week later, I was 30 pounds up because I couldn't stop binge eating. I didn't have that future perfect identity in mind. I didn't recommit myself to a new goal. I just cared about the here and now. Once that was done, I was lost again. So many people are stuck in that way of thinking.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you have a year-long program after 8 weeks in the year, isn't it?
So I do 90 days now, which is 3 months, 12 weeks, and then 12 months. Yeah, so not everyone joins, obviously, but I've got that option. Like, listen, we've done this, we've achieved this, you've stopped binge eating, you've dropped 2 stone. What next? Because if you applied this way of thinking to 12 months, what could you achieve in your life? And they're like, wow, great. And the people that are ready for that, they join my program, no problem. The people who are not, that's cool. At least I've given them what they need to do in that moment. And if they wanted to join, they can. But that's the system that worked for me. It was like, right, I'm out of pain now. What's next? So I've created this new program to basically get them to do that. Life expansion, that's where it's at. So if I guess I'm kind of giving you some advice and coaching here, but for your clients, like, always get them to think of what's next, because they might not be thinking of that. I think it's our jobs as coaches to plant that seed in our clients' minds to say, well, listen, this is what you've achieved in the last 3 months or the last 8 weeks or whatever. Imagine if you applied this strategy, but to a longer term way of thinking. What do you think you could achieve in your life? And get them to think about it, because if they can visualize it, mate, they can see it. We can't be inspired by something we can't recognize in ourselves. So if they're inspired by that long-term vision, they can do it.
100%. Yeah, I think I used to get caught up. I'm pretty sure you done the same when you first started coaching. 8-week transformation to I'm going to change your life in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then
that's what people want, Peader. That's what people want. So that's what I gave them for years. It was like early 2020. Lockdown was a miracle for me, and I hate saying that because I know so many people went through serious traumas and adversity because of that. But for me, I guess I just took advantage of what was in front of us. I couldn't change it. I had my week wobble where I was still doing PT at the time, and I lost 60% of my business. Didn't think I was going to be able to pay the bills. I had 30 coaching clients who pretty much all cancelled the direct debits for their coaching. I was like, shit, I'm back to square one. Then I realized, right, what's in the gap? It's mindset. People need help with their mindset right now. And before that, it was just, Sam, I want to get in shape for a holiday. Cool. Here's how you do that. And I was world class at it. But that wasn't long-term vision, So when that went out the way, when there wasn't any holidays, when there wasn't any social occasions to get in shape for, when the short-term results went out the window, I had to create something new, and that's kind of why I transitioned into it. But you are right, because most people, mate, when you get involved in the fitness industry, they'll hire you because they just want fast results now. And I don't think that's the personal trainer's fault or the coach's fault. I just necessarily think that giving people what they want. If you're not going to help them with that, someone else will. But I think you can still have that model of, right, listen, if you do this in 8 weeks, you get in tremendous shape. But then also have this next thing where you're like, listen, if you apply this to a longer term way of thinking, I've got something else for you, mate.
Yeah, 100%. I like that longer term thing now, and I'm on to like a more 90-day model line like yourself, because I found, to me, intensity demonstrates like a lack of consistency. So if you're really, really intense at something, it's because you haven't been consistent in the past. You know what I mean? So over 90 days, for example, someone could lose, like say, 2-3 stone pretty easily. Whereas if they're trying to do that in 8 weeks, it's all go, like, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I get that, and I think that's why I got rid of an 8-week coaching program, because it's not long enough, mate. It's not long enough at all. I think 8 weeks, again, it does imply a quick fix, and it would be a hypocrite of me to preach what I'm preaching and then have a fast program. That's why I don't do 20-a-day challenges or 8 weeks. I'm just not into that anymore. I'm like, right, you work with us for 3 months because I'll show you how to stop binge eating in that time. Then if you want to work with me longer, it's 12 months. In that time, if you commit to the program for 12 months, I'll change your life.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And people who are not ready for that, they want to do quick fixes. I'm like, I'm not the guy for you, and I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah, right. Recommend it to someone.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So it's powerful. Like I said, I think health and fitness right now, it's got to be a hybrid of, here's your macros, here's nutrition, here's how you should train, here's how you should eat, but then piggyback this mindset stuff onto it, because it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the coaching. Because obviously majority of what I do, I write training programs to give people all the education, but the conversations that I have with my clients are rarely about training. It's usually like, I missed the gym 3 times this week. Okay, why? And then you start to get into the actual reason. And I think that's the big difference between the coaching and then just people ask me, why don't we do one-off training programs? Because you probably make a bit of money, sell them for fucking 50 quid or something. But it's often not that people don't have the right training program or whatever. It's because they're not committing to it for whatever reason. And then that's why.
Yeah, mate, I'm going to be, again, honest, I'm going to share some stuff here because I think it might help you and help anyone listening, because I sometimes get personal trainers and coaches who actually come through my coaching program, because I'm like, on social media, they're posting all these content, they're doing well, but they're struggling with their mental health as well. And I think a lot of that comes from basically being unfulfilled within working in the fitness industry. And I had that. So basically I had all these ideas that I think I could help people with, but then I just patterned myself into short-term quick fixes, 10 sessions of personal training, 8-week coaching program, monthly online coaching memberships. It's like, well, I just kept attracting clients who didn't really care about the long term. So they weren't listening to what I was saying. They were just after the quick fixes, and I felt unfulfilled. And that is the main reason I quit PT, because the same people kept coming back every Monday morning. Sam, I binge ate all weekend. I feel like shit. Or maybe they'll do a month personal training with, I'm doing great now. Like, I don't need you anymore. I'm like, all right, cool. And a month later, Sam, I need to come back. And I'm just like, I'm just on this merry-go-round. It's like, I don't like this anymore. Like, I need to get off because this is not fulfilling, So I think there is a lot of that. And I think a lot of online coaches, personal trainers, people in the fitness industry, they do get wrapped up in that mindset themselves. And like you said, with the one-off diet plans and this and that, I've done all that. I'd done that to pacify people because that's what they wanted. And I was a people pleaser at the time. And I guess I still am to a certain extent. If you're a coach, you are a bit of a people pleaser, and you'll always have to make decisions based around, right, am I going to give this client what they really need, but that might trigger them and they might leave us, or am I going to give them what they want and I'll just take their money? We've constantly got that paradox all of the time, and it's so hard to break. It is because, you know, bottom line is we've got to eat as well. We've got to put food on the table, right? We've got to pay with car payments. We've got to pay with bills. And if there's 90% of people who want to lose weight are going to be stuck in the all or nothing quick fix mindset, you're essentially niching yourself down to a tiny, tiny audience. And as a business, as a coach, as someone who wants to develop that personal training brand or whatever, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot if you don't give people what they want, you know? So it's a very hard mindset to break, both for the coach and the client. Yeah. But I think if you do it the right way, eventually it will work. And I'm seeing the reward of that right now. But I started in 2012, mate. I was training my pals for free, just giving them, one-off diet plans and this and that. And then I was training a few people locally for, personal training and this and that. And I kind of had a break from it, went through my own bit of, adversity. And then 2018, that's when I was like, right, full time. And that's when it started kicking off. But for 2 years, I was stuck in that game, mate. Just fast 6-week programs, 8-week programs. You want to do a monthly coaching? Great. You want a one-off diet plan? There you go. And it wasn't fulfilling. And yes, it was getting people great results, but the same people were coming back, lost that progress. And that's, like I say, 2020, went through that transition when lockdown happened, which was a blessing in disguise for me because it forced me to go, right, this ain't working. How can I take advantage of this and give people something better? And I did. Yeah,
definitely. I think you'll find this as well. Actually, my clients, the first group of clients that I had during the lockdown actually got better results than the first group when I first came out of it, because they had no distractions, they had no social nights out, and they also had the biggest reason ever because they were sitting bored in the house. A lot of people, you'd be quite honest and be like, listen, I'm struggling a bit right now, I need something else to focus on. And I was amazed to see that, because obviously we'd never have that sort of experience before, lockdowns and stuff. But yeah, the start of the lockdown was probably the busiest for me. People were mad to get in shape, mad to do something about it. And I'm sure you experienced the exact same thing yourself, didn't you?
100%, mate. There was some awesome results that I got. And with the extra time that people had with less distractions, I found that they were more willing to learn about mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Honestly, there's some people who I'm still working with right now, my 12-month coaching program, who initially started with me during lockdown. They've changed their life. They've left jobs they hated. They've left relationships they hated. They're in new relationships. They're in new jobs. Some even started their businesses from the mindset coaching I gave them. One of my other podcasts, which is episode 3, I think, for anyone who's listening to this right now, if you click on episode 3 when it gets posted, a client of mine called Jack Wade, he dropped like 60 pounds during last lockdown to now, and developed his own business doing media, and he's doing amazing right now. He would not have had the confidence to do that. Like, I'm talking about the future perfect identity, the future vision. He would not have had the confidence to ever do that and stumble across those opportunities if he didn't get a handle on his eating, on his drinking, on his mindset. You know what I mean? So the initial, I want to lose weight, can be the catalyst for some amazing things in your life. That's why I say mental health needs physical support. And I think the best way to change your life is to focus on your body to start with, and then just see what happens.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's probably like you started a business from it. Your whole lifestyle was probably from that first day in the gym that you went to, which is insane to think about, like, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad how things work out. Obviously, I've mentioned, you're only 21. I'm 5 years ahead of you, mate. But it's mad how I see the things that started, how it changed. I've probably been through 3 big transitions in my life. I think Chris Williamson, do you know him?
Yes, I love his podcast, brilliant.
Yeah, amazing. I'm sure he was referring to something the other week that I was listening to called epochs. I don't know if you've heard of that. You go through different epochs in your life. And I'm in like the 3rd or 4th one. It's almost like phases or transitions. And a lot of people, humans, we fear change, don't we? One of our biggest fears is change. People do anything to stop change. They want to hold on to what they've got. It's a safety mechanism. But I think you've got to embrace change, and it's a part of you growing. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be able to flourish. You want to be able to grow. And if you want that thing to get bigger, you've got to almost get rid of these, fences and barriers we put around ourselves mentally about that's what I'm capable of, that's my limits. It's like these limiting beliefs that keep us stuck, and eventually you might grow, but then you'll outgrow that and you'll start getting resistance. And if you're not willing to drop that, you'll not enter this new transition. So I almost felt like I've been through various different epochs. Started off online coach, just helping people with that physical appearance because that's what people wanted. So I did, hey, I can help you lose weight. Here's how. Training program, diet plans, do this, do that, some accountability. Then that wasn't giving us what I needed anymore. It wasn't giving the clients what I needed. So then I went under the mindset thing. bit of a, round peg, square hole situation, trying to force mindset work onto people who didn't want to hear it was difficult. Yeah. So then I niched further into this emotional eating, because that's my background. When I struggled with an eating disorder, I thought, well, how can I apply my, I hate saying this word because there's people who've been through so much trauma compared to me, but I guess I was going through a little bit. It was self-created. No one ever done anything to us. It was all down to me, and I had to take responsibility. However, I was struggling massively at the time. So I guess that trauma, that adversity I was going through, I thought, well, how can I package that up and transition that into something that can help people who are going through something similar? And then I went into this third epoch. It's like I've been through different phases within my career, and it's crazy. And I think everyone goes through that, So maybe you're in your first one, maybe you're growing right now and you're seeing a bit of change, maybe you're getting your second one, and then in a couple of years' time, you'll get into your third, and life's about that. Epochs, just different transitions. It's like, embrace it. Otherwise, you'll stay stuck and you'll not know the reason why. You'll feel unfulfilled without even knowing, and life will pass you by. Life is passing you by because you didn't allow yourself to grow. Definitely,
man. And I seen before I knew you properly, got to talking to you and stuff. I can remember you come up my Instagram, you put up a photo. It was you, I think, when you were big into the bodybuilding stuff, and it was like you would have seen me posting a lot of these back in the day, just photos of me. And I was like, oh, I didn't put two and two together who you actually were. So I scrolled way down, and the difference in your Instagram back then in comparison to now is like night and day. Like, you wouldn't even recognize the person.
That's a perfect example of a Peader. If anyone wants to do that, go on my Instagram. You'll see this, what I've just talked about, this epoch, this transition in real life. If you click on 4 years ago, when I was just banging to the bodybuilding, I will admit I only done bodybuilding because I literally didn't know what else to do with my life. I was so depressed. I was broke. I was skint. I left university not knowing what I was doing. I had these expectations that I would just walk into a job because I worked hard. Hard work gets you nowhere. Smart work does. Hard work gets you nowhere. Yeah, you've got to know how to work it smartly, and you've got to have the right strategy. Otherwise, hard work, you just get worn out. I worked hard. Life didn't go the way I wanted to, and I didn't know where to turn. The only thing I had was, I'm good at putting on muscle. Let's do a show. That'll solve our problems. But it didn't, And it was insecurity. I guess it was insecurity. It was the fact that it was my identity. I was always, oh, Sam's the big lad. Oh, Sam at the gym. Oh, you're doing a show, Sam. Oh, you're looking great, Sam. Are you bulking right now? That was my identity. I didn't know what else I was. I didn't figure it out. I was stuck in this epoch that I knew I should be something different, but I didn't know what it was. So I kept myself trapped like a bird in a cage. Yeah, and that's the only thing I knew how to do. So all of my Instagram was, he has a photo of me today. He has this, he has that. He has my check-ins. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, like I said, it's just sort of the next logical step for you, wouldn't it? Because you were the big lad. Obviously, we're gonna, I think a lot of people say to me, they're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna open a gym someday?" Just because I'm like a coach, I'm like, no, I don't want to open a gym. Like, not there's anything wrong with that. I don't want to.
People used to say that to me all the time. I'm like, no, I quit personal training because it wasn't fulfilling us anymore. I don't want to be in the gym. I want to get out the gym.
Yeah, exactly. You just be back to square one again.
Exactly, mate. But like I said, people will notice this, and it's something, I guess, that, like I say, referring to Chris Williamson, when he described it as this epoch, you go through these different phases when you'll totally change your values, you'll totally change your priorities, you'll change your identity, and you've got to allow yourself to do that. People who struggle with their mental health, in my opinion, they don't allow their identity to change. They hold on to something that might not be there anymore. They hold on to past relationships, maybe previous traumas. They don't allow themselves to grow. They don't embrace change. They fear it, so they stay stuck in an epoch that's not meant for them. And you're supposed to go through these transitions. You're supposed to go through them, So I guess, I don't even know how we got into this topic, mate, but it's flown well. It's flown well, but I guess you've just got to embrace it. And if you want to see a physical representation of that, look at my Instagram. Totally different person to what I was 4 years ago. Totally different person to what I was 2 years ago.
Yeah, 100%. And I like what you said there. When I first came on to Paul's stuff, when I went on to Paul, it was purely for business help. I didn't even know he did mindset stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, when I first came into that, I was just like, oh, this is a business coaching thing. And I remember he was talking about some of the stuff he was talking about. I was like, what a load of shit. This was only like a year ago. Like, this was maybe last March or something. And then now the difference is unbelievable. And some of my friends say stuff to me like, oh, what the fuck are you doing that for? I'm like, I would have said the exact same thing. 6 months, not even.
When I was struggling, I guess in 2018, 17, when I described myself as an angry man, that whole stereotype of angry man, it's never his responsibility, it's always everyone else's fault. That was me. And that's why I was depressed and struggling with panic attacks, because nothing was my fault. Yeah. Anyways, it wasn't my fault either, but it was just the way the strategy was going on right now. But anyways, I guess if I saw things like what Paul are posting, or even what I post right now, I would have called myself a hippie douchebag 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I would look at myself and go, who's this tosspot? That's what I would have said, because I wasn't ready to hear that right now. I got a bit of shit on Instagram the other day, mate, about, talking about emotional eating and binge eating. And obviously that's a very touchy subject. People are like, yes, binge eating is classed as an eating disorder. It is, right? But I think tying itself into this is a medical condition that I can't control. That doesn't make you feel empowered. And I think a lot of people are stuck in that. And I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying if that's what you choose to believe, there's no solutions for you, because you're like, I've got a medical condition, I can't do nothing about it. You need to accept that, yeah, I might be struggling with this medical condition and maybe I need treatment on it, but there's got to be some alternative solutions, right? Can I focus on them? And I posted something along those lines. I got about 20 unfollows, a couple of nasty DMs. And I'm like, you know what? I have so much empathy and compassion for these people. I don't argue with them. I don't tell them they're wrong, because 4 years ago, if I heard some of the things I was talking about right now, I would have responded in the exact same way. I wasn't ready to hear it yet, and that's totally okay. Everyone's on the transition. Everyone's on their journey. Everyone's doing their best with the tools they've got. Yeah, and I think it's all up to the individual to accept that, right, I'm ready to change. And you're ready when you're ready. There's no escaping it. You can't lie to yourself. When you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah, and that's, I think, some of the stuff you talk about. I don't even want to use the word brave, but like, fair play to you, man, because even some stuff I put up before, I've said certain words, and I'm not gonna lie, I've cut stuff out in the edit, and I'm like, fuck, I can't say that. You know what I mean? I think you go through that phase.
I'll be lying, Peader, if that post I made yesterday, if it didn't cross my mind to delete it, I'll be lying. I will always care about what people think. You'll always fear it. You'll always fear judgment. You'll always fear failure. You'll always fear criticism. It never goes away. But again, this epoch that I'm talking about right now, this transition, I'm like, what's the deeper, greater message behind it? And I think I got a bit of clarity saying, right, 100 people could make a nasty post about me, could try and cancel me, could try and do whatever for what I've said. But if one person, which I get messages every day, mate, Sam, you've changed my life with that book. Sam, you've changed my life with that post. As long as I get those messages, I'm good, and I'll continue to do it. But I would be lying if I said, you know what, when I started getting their messages, I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? Heart starting to beat fast, heart palpitations. Like, I'm starting to create anxiety just thinking about it. But I'm like, what's the greater message, Sam? What's the deeper meaning behind it? If someone can hear something that changes their life, it's worth getting this shit off other people. It's worth it. Yeah,
definitely, mate. Even like I said, just one person. That's enough, like, isn't it?
100%, mate. 100%. And that's the beauty of what we do, mate. Like, again, I'm referring to loads of different people here, but Tony Robbins says success without fulfillment is failure. That statement allowed me to totally change my mindset when it came to my business. I wasn't fulfilled, so I needed to create some success. So money doesn't mean anything. Clients doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. It's all about how you feel fulfilled. And that's what allowed me to do that. So I'm like, if I'm getting fulfillment, and the greatest thing that makes me feel fulfilled is when someone tells me, Sam, like, I'm doing it. I'm kicking ass right now. I'm feeling amazing. My mental health's improving. And I guess you feel that as well. That's why we do it, really. Just like we say, why do people want to lose weight? It's the deeper meaning. Why the hell do we want to coach people and help people lose weight? It's because of the deeper meaning behind it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. And I think I got caught up in that trap as well. I think everyone does. First start coaching, first proper business and stuff. You're like, fuck, I'm going to get as many clients as I possibly can. Working every single hour of the day, and that wasn't fulfilling in the slightest, I think, like you said, helping a certain group of people with a certain problem that you resonate with, that's something that you've been through yourself, there's nothing like it. Like, I got that message off that lad the other day saying he was going on a date with a girl and stuff. I was like, fuck. Got a bit emotional reading it. Like,
yeah. I mean, I get tears in my eyes, like, obviously doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to mention names and things because it's very personal, but I've worked with ladies who've, been anorexic before and they've massively struggled with anorexia, bulimia. Some people who've struggled with their hormonal cycle, when people struggle with eating disorders, if they diet down and starve themselves, they can actually stop their monthly cycle. One of my biggest wins this year was a client who got that back. And I'm like, how did I reach this point when I'm getting overwhelmed and emotional, the fact that I've helped someone do that? And I used to just care about before and afters. I'm like, totally changed. The meaning behind why I do something has totally changed. But that, seeing that power, seeing that sense of, achievement from these other people, I feel like haven't got kids, right? But I can only imagine that's what having kids feels like, and seeing them get GCSE results and be, oh my God, they've done it. And that's what I feel like sometimes.
Yeah, that would be my proud dad. Like,
yeah, that's what it's like. It's absolutely fantastic, and that's the best thing about it. Like, and I always go back to that message: success without fulfillment is failure. Do you do PTs as well, Peader, face to face?
No, I'm fully online, mate.
Yeah. So what was your reason behind that? Did you not get any fulfillment out of that?
I only got qualification properly because of the lockdown stuff came through the very, very start of lockdown. So I was like, right, I always wanted to be online, but the plan was you have to go on the floor and earn your stripes. That's what I thought anyway. So I went online to start with, and then I went into a gym. I was like, right, I'm going to start this PT. Took my friend on, just one person, to see if I liked it. A few months, I was like, fuck this. I think it was actually 1 month, but I realized very, very quickly, I was like, this is not for me. Not that there's anything wrong with it. You know, I could make a lot more money doing it with the amount of clients I have, charge them on an hourly rate, but it's not about money. It's more so like, I don't want to do it. You know, I don't want to be on the gym doing it. And
it is, man. It is.
Yeah, I have clients in England, I have clients in Canada, so I'm helping them that I couldn't help if I was on the gym floor. That's my personal problem with it. You know,
yeah. So apart from being more suited to be online and not really getting fulfillment out of it, was there any particular, like, you know, slap in the face that you just like, right, I hate that about personal training, I'm not going to do it? Was there anything that stood out?
I'm trying to think if there's anything that stood out. Because it was only one person, probably not. You know, it was one of the boys, so like we were pretty good with times and stuff. You know, I'm sure if people started fucking me about with not showing up to sessions and stuff, that would piss me off. But it was actually, I was working in a gym because the lad that owns the gym, he's really dead on. The way he worked it is I just had to work in the gym a couple hours a week rather than pay him rent. And I was sitting in the gym, I was working. I was like, I left the job to get another job. Now I'm sitting in someone else's gym. I don't want to do this, you know. But when I left my job, I was like, right, I'm working for myself now. And then I circled into another job somehow.
Yeah. Do you know how I realized that I didn't value personal training anymore? I started fucking up. I started fucking up massively. You know, when you're saying people not showing up to sessions and that used to happen to me. And then eventually I started being the one who was fucking up. I was all over the place. I was at one point, mate, in 2019, 14 PT sessions a day.
Jeez.
45 minutes each. And that's a lot of cheese. Yeah, a lot of money. Right? I was doing well, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I was exhausted. I was going to the gym at 6 a.m. and I wasn't leaving until 10 p.m. You cannot keep that up.
No, that's another thing. I'm not a 6 a.m. riser. I would not be in the gym at 6 a.m.
Yeah. I mean, don't get us wrong, I still get up early and do other things, but that was hard. And don't get me wrong, that year I had a great year. I went to Florida. I went on like 6 holidays. I just spent all the money I made on living my life, living my best life. Yeah. But again, it got to the point I was like, am I fulfilled by this? No. Okay, right. And I started realizing I was fucking up with my times. I was getting unorganized. And that was the symptom, the feedback to me. That was like, Sam, get control. What's going on? Why is this happening? It's happening because you're not organized, because you don't value it. What do you need to do to take a step back? Okay, I'm valuing the mindset. I'm valuing the coaching. I really like teaching people about nutrition, right? Let's cater it to that. And I changed and I had this new epoch. And like I said, that's how it goes. But I guess the thing for me with personal training, it felt like a job. Even though it was me doing it, I'm turning up, I'm on someone else's time. I've got to physically be there. I was like, I wanted to get away from that. I've just created my own job. This is not what I wanted.
100%, yeah. And I think there's this whole thing at the minute, like you're either online or you personal training, you know, you have to hit. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You know, some people like it, some people like it. It just wasn't for me. Some people hate online. Yeah.
I did both for a long time. Like I'm not one of these guys who says like, I'm always saying like you should do things you love, and if you hate something, don't do it. But I'm also strategic as well. I'm a strategist. Yeah. If you've got nothing else lined up, don't just fucking quit your job, because you're gonna put yourself in the hole. You're gonna create a lot of stress, right? So you've got to do it in phases, you know. So it was almost like I'm a personal trainer. I've got these clients. I'm doing, 14 a day, right? Can I get that down to 8 a day? I'm willing to do 8 hours. Then I can go home and work for 3 or 4 hours, which I did on my coaching program. Great. And then eventually just got to the point when the coaching program was building so much, I didn't have to do the personal training anymore. So I did phase it out gradually. Don't get me wrong. And I even got tempted to go back after lockdown. So it happened last year in March. I quit. That's when I decided it. And then the lure of that came back again when the gyms opened, didn't it, in September, before we were in another lockdown. It's like, Sam, you doing personal training? I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Then it was like, oh, please, I'll do this, I'll do that. I'm like, right, can I do it? Can I squeeze 4 hours in a day to make an extra £100 a day? Can I do that? It's £25 a session, that it's good money, mate. Who do you know makes £25 an hour? People going on oil rigs and shit. It's good money if you get it right. But again, it's not about the money, man. It's about the fulfillment.
No, and I would rather a slower growth online. And I don't even think it's necessarily slow. It's just, you don't get that guaranteed. Say you're charging £25, £30 an hour, that's whatever amount of hours a week. Like you say, that's a great hourly rate, but it's not about the hourly rate. Obviously you need to make money, like you say, but it's not just about that. If I want to do that, I'd go into a different business. I'd charge more. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And again, this full circle for what we started talking about the first, 5 minutes, the big mistakes we see our clients make. They want it now. They want the fat loss now, the results now. If you're working in the fitness industry, call yourself out on that as well. Are you trying to just make money now? Are you just trying to get fast results now? Because that's not what you're about. Everyone gets caught up in that. Everyone. I'll be a hypocrite to say I didn't. I'll be a hypocrite to say this person didn't. I'll be a hypocrite to say you didn't. I bet you did. Everyone did.
Definitely.
Everyone did.
It's easy.
It's easy. It's in human nature. Why the hell do we want to wait for rewards? We want it now. Path of least resistance. It's normal. But is that having effects on the back end? This is what I'm talking about, that future identity, visualizing with, who you want to become and understanding your short-term decisions create the long-term result. I think it's the law of cause and effect, right?
Yeah. And that's a brilliant thing you said there. Is it impacting the future identity? Some people, I think when I talk a lot about long-term stuff, people get the idea that you're not going to get fast results. There is a balance between getting really good results in a short space of time and maintaining that. But there's also the very fucking opposite end of the spectrum, whereas burning yourself out, and then there's people who can't get results at all. You have to, I think finding that balance is probably something I'm still working on now, but that's the aim with the clients. Try to get you best results while not damaging you long-term, because it's possible. Yeah. And I've done it, not to people, but to myself.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap this up soon, mate, but we'll get it back on track with like our advice to people right now, because that's what I want to talk about. When it comes to getting results with physical bodies, we know that people want to improve their body. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah. And I think having your body composition goals as your number one priority, I think that can create problems down the line, because why do you want your body composition goal to be your number one priority? Is it because of outside validation? Is it because you think it'll make you happy? I'm here to say right now, getting in tremendous shape, if you are not happy on the inside, your body ain't going to make you happy. Yeah. I've had it twice in my life. I thought I'll be happy when I got in shape, and I got in tremendous shape. I'm talking about like 6% body fat, like, 15 stone shredded at 5'8". I was a big dude. I'm still relatively big right now, about 13 stone, but I was a big dude. Didn't make us happy. And then early 2018, 19, making all this money, that'll make us happy. Didn't make us happy. Yeah. I'm a prime example of, like, if you want something that you think is going to make you happy, if you don't change what's on the inside, you will not be happy. So I just want to make sure people realize that if you want to lose weight, fantastic. I think it's a great goal to have. Yeah. Improving your body is one of the greatest ways to improve your self-confidence. And I think it's a fantastic thing. But ask yourself why. What's the deeper meaning? And are you doing it for the gratification? Are you doing it for the before and after on Instagram? Are you doing it because you think it's going to make you happy?
Yeah, definitely. And something I've started doing with clients is when they're coming to me, obviously I work with mainly fat loss. So their goal usually is around a certain weight target or whatever, but we'll get on the phone, we'll talk about, right, what's your goal in terms of your performance? What's your goal in terms of your strength? And then what's your goal in terms of your lifestyle? So they're not sacrificing training, they're not sacrificing energy for just a result. So they're looking to, yes, be this weight, but they're also looking to run this distance in this amount of time, So they're sort of improving across the board. And that'd probably be my biggest piece of advice to anyone. Make sure the goals are all supporting each other,
Fantastic, mate. I love that. It gives us just made a great point in my head just come up there like a highlight, light bulb moment. I've went through that transition the past year or so. I got away from the result. Like I say to people, if you check in with me and you're like, Sam, I'm losing weight, everything's going well, but I'm fucking depressed right now, I'm going to say, fuck the result. What's going on? Yeah. So I always say, right, how you feel is number one. Tell me how you feel. Rate your energy out of 10, rate your mood out of 10. How you feeling? Okay, great. Right. Progress, measurements, physical data. Did you hit your calories? Did you hit your steps? Did you improve any training goals you've had? Did you hit your non-negotiable targets? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, great. Right. Now let's look at the results. What's scale weight saying? What's your measurement saying? That's third down the list. Yeah. Progress is happiness. It's not a result. It's not a destination. I think so many people get wrapped up in the I will be happy when camp. Yeah. And it's not. It's happiness is saying progress, continuous progress, knowing that you are heading towards this future perfect identity that you've got inside your mind. Am I on track with that? Yes or no? You can't lie to yourself. If you're making progress, there's the certainty that you need. I'm on track. If you're not making progress, there's the guarantee that you've got that you're not on track, and that's going to make you unhappy. So if you want to be happy, focus on the journey. The results, like the cherry on top of the cake, the fat loss, the before and after, that's the little perk added at the end. It's the journey, it's the progress day in, day out. And I think what helped me have that mindset shift was obviously come from a bodybuilding background. Result. We're essentially getting judged on how we look, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying for some people it doesn't work. Didn't work for me mentally. It actually caused a lot of problems. However, I get that, right? But if I was to change my mindset and think, right, I will be in the best shape possible if I perform and eat like this, if I change the strategy mentally and prioritize like physical data and targets first in the journey, the result would happen automatically, right? But if you just focus on the result, you miss out on the journey.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. I think it it happens a lot with girls. Obviously, girls' weight can fluctuate and stuff, so they're just working towards a weight target. I never really liked that idea, but now they're like, oh, my hip thrust or whatever it is, it's up to this, and my weight's down. You know what I mean? They're not just eyes setting that one thing anymore. And I like what you said though, because I don't have a problem with chasing physique or chasing perform or certain look or whatever.
It inspires us. I love it. I love it. I love how people get in shape. I love it. I love it before and after as much as anyone else. But I understand now, if that's the priority, we're missing out on the journey, the progress, the happiness part. And I think, again, you're going to get, especially, well, it doesn't really matter. There's no gender specific here. Males and females want to improve their body and lose weight, right? But when I get clients who maybe they're checking and the scale weight hasn't gone down, they're a little bit demotivated. I'll say, right, okay, well, what creates scale weight loss? Being in a calorie deficit. What do you have to do to be in a calorie deficit? You've got to hit numbers, you've got to hit targets, you've got to exercise. Have you done that this week? Actually, no, I didn't do that. I didn't do this, didn't do that. Okay, well, how can you expect the scale to go down? So instead of looking at that number, ask yourself, have I hit my non-negotiables? And if you hit your non-negotiables, it doesn't matter what that number's saying right now. Eventually, it's going to be where you want it to go. So just focus on the progress, focus on the journey, focus on the data,
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, and I seen you're getting into a bit of fighting nowadays, so that's probably pretty applicable.
Well, I'm not getting into fighting, it's just for fun, mate.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, just like the training that I do.
Trust me, I'll never fight. I'm not dedicated enough for it. Because I'm under no illusion that if you want to get involved in that stuff, you've got to be all in.
Oh yeah,
I'm not all in on that. It's a hobby. I'll get my head punched clean off of anyone who knows what they're doing. I told my pal about it the other night, but I posted a little bit of footage that I'd done the other day. I very rarely do that. Again, it's something that makes us cringe a little bit because I'm thinking, oh, some people might think I'm like showing off and saying I'm going to do this and that, but that's just my ego telling me that. Some people would think that because I probably think that about other people. It's a load of shit. I just thought, I'm posting because I enjoy it and I just like sharing, and that's why. But I have had 2 or 3 people who've messaged, oh, Sammy, are you going to get involved in that? You look all right, you're doing this. I'm like, no trusters. I was talking to my pal about it the other night, and I was like, look at how much I've got my hands down. Look at my foot position there and that kick. I was like, anyone who knows what they were doing would pick me the fuck apart. They would knock my head clean off in 5 minutes. So I am under no illusion, right? I'm a complete beginner, but yeah, that's just for fun. But again, the progress, the reward, like talking about the journey. 4 months ago when I started the kickboxing, I couldn't even get my leg up past my knee. Don't get us wrong, I can't head kick anyone. I'm not that flexible right now, but getting it up to here. That's progress, and I see that and I go, yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah.
That's happiness. That's progress. That's what keeps you on the right track. Get your head off the destination, because most people are comparing where they're at now versus where they really want to be, and they just see the gap and they go, oh man, I'm not there yet. Instead, compare where you started versus where you are now. See the progress and then go, right, that's data to show that my forecasted progress is on track. Just like in business, forecasted revenue. Well, what have I made this month? If I times that by 12, that's my revenue for the year. It's all that. It's just data. Just have the right strategy. Instead of saying what's missing, what's already there.
Yeah, and you'll find a lot of people probably turn around to you. They turn around to me as well. They're like, it was a lot easier than I expected. The process, not easier, but more enjoyable. Like, I didn't suffer nearly as much as I thought I would. I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to do that. And that's more.
Again, mate, rules. It all comes down to rules, what we make things mean. Done a full circle before we wrap this up. People are associating getting in shape and losing weight with things that are painful. I've got to do this. I've got to cut that out. I've got to do this. Got to do that. And all of a sudden they do it the right way, the way that we teach. And they're like, actually, that wasn't even that bad. I've been missing out on this my whole life. I'm like, fucking rights, have you? Yeah. Of course you have. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. This is how passionate and ranty sometimes I get in videos, because we know the power of how easy and simple it can be and how much potential is inside of people that they're just not willing to unlock because they've got these ridiculous rules for themselves. I had to cut out this, got no bread, no carbs, carbs before marbs and all that shit. People are stuck in that way of thinking and it's killing them. It's literally killing that progress. It's killing that potential.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah, like I said, full circle. I think the biggest thing is just making it too difficult for yourself. Make it easy. Make it very easy.
Make it easy. Why do we want to make things more difficult than they have to be? Yeah. Now that's not saying things are always going to be easy. There's some things you got to do that are going to be hard. But if you can figure out, right, there's the right strategy for me, but how can I just give myself more time? How can I make it simple and fit my life? It's going to be easier. You're more likely to do it if it's easier, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, amazing, mate. Right, Jude, I think we'll wrap it there, mate, because we've been on an hour. But yeah, this was a great conversation, mate. Really good.
Yeah, we've been going a fucking hour. So we have. I didn't even notice that.
Right, doesn't it, mate? Doesn't it?
Yeah. No, I wasn't even thinking about that. Didn't feel like a interview-esque, as you were saying.
Yeah, I could chat for hours and hours, mate. I could, but we've got shit to do, haven't we, mate? You've got clients, I've got clients.
Exactly, man.
we'll do this again sometime, mate. But I'll make sure that when I post this, links to your pages and stuff, I'll post in the description as well, because you give some incredible value there, mate. And I want people to follow you and go and listen to you, because you're doing some great things with your guys right now. You don't just work with people from you're from Ireland, right?
Yeah, but no, people all over, like people in the UK, Canada. Like I say, it's not specific to here.
Yeah, amazing, mate. So you can find Peader wherever you are in the world, and you can work with them as well. So there we go. So Peader, mate, I'm going to love you and leave you, but that was an amazing podcast, dude. I really appreciate you having me on.
Amazing, mate. Cheers for having me on. I enjoyed that.
Amazing, mate.